Hi, everyone. Welcome to the episode 3 of High on Impact, a podcast series which captures insights from CSR leaders, impact investors, CSO leaders, philanthropists, grassroots NGOs, and much more. Today, we have with us Mr. Amit Patjoshi, who's a distinguished leader contributing to India's journey towards social and economic transformation. With a robust career in renowned firms such as EY, KPMG, and PwC, Amit brings over 2 decades of invaluable experience in government advisory roles, collaborating with prestigious entities like FCDO, IFC, UNDP, World Bank, ADP, and multiple state governments in India. As the CEO of Palladium India, Amit envisions positioning Palladium as the most impactful firm globally, leveraging their unique space in designing, developing, and implementing their projects. With a focus on key sectors including agriculture, economic growth, climate, health, and disaster risk management, Amit's aim is to bring about substantial and meaningful changes that are crucial for India and the subcontinent. Amit, welcome to NGO Story.
Thanks very much, and look forward to the conversation on the subject you mentioned. Thank you very much for inviting us today.
Absolutely, Amit. So just looking forward to, touching upon a couple of questions. So, Palladium has a rich history celebrating about, almost 60 years globally and 2 decades in India. So what have been the most significant milestones and, the transformative journeys in the transformative milestones in your journey in India? So if you could start with that, that will set a lot of context here.
So I'll just define who we are on the global scenario. We are a global impact firm with nearly 60 years of experience working at the intersection of social impact and commercial growth. It's been a great pleasure to work and have presence across 90 countries, capture the learnings from projects across the world. It's been 20 years. We started our journey in India since last 2024, predominantly working with a lot of bilateral donors, whether it is USAID, whether it is DFID, or for that matter, Australian aid, and few others. And the focus has always been on development sector, which is health, agri and allied, whether it is farm livelihoods through agri and allied or non-farm livelihoods through entrepreneurship, skilling, disaster management has been one strong focus and so on and so forth. Uh, in 2018, we entered with the JV with a local partner called AP Globale. And that's where our journey started focusing on India's geography rather than focusing more on a project driven approach, wherein we set our footprints in India working with multiple state governments. Currently, we are present across 15 odd states, with predominantly working on 4 or 5 states that are anchor states, which is Maharashtra, Orissa, northeastern states, and so on and so forth. Answering the question, how exactly we established ourselves in terms of our journey so far. Since last 3 and 4 years, we have moved from a team size of 30 to a team size of 150 plus right now, working across 25 odd live projects in the conference of agri and allied, climate and disaster management, transport sector and road safety, and various other governance projects. So the journey has been great with the one underlying theory of creating positive impact for which we live for growth.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much, Amit, for giving a download on, the entire journey. One sub question, what we had here is that you guys are working across climate change, sustainability, disaster management, and all of these very important, pressing issues. Are there any other thematic areas which Palladium also covers, like education or women empowerment or rural development as well? Because there are a lot of stakeholders who are a part of our platform who would love to know if Palladium is also working on such thematic areas as well. So are these subjects, are these thematic areas also interest you as an organization?
So, as I said, we are a social impact firm. While we work across those sectors I mentioned, whether it is in the conference of agri and allied, transport and allied, climate disaster management, governance processes, there are certain underlying things which is there in each and every project. For example, gender is one subject. sustainability is the other subject. And I'll try one example. For example, we are doing a program in Orissa, which is more focused on entrepreneurship, wherein the mandate of the government was to at least try and create nano entrepreneurs, 1,000 nano entrepreneurs with at least a penetration of 25% women. Now, with the focus which we have reached to a certain extent of 75% women penetration, which means that out of that 1,000 entrepreneurs we are creating, 75% of them are women entrepreneurs, women nano entrepreneurs. So that these are certain themes of women, gender, sustainability, equity, diversity, and inclusion are there across all our projects. I can share another example wherein we are helping farmer producer organizations across Orissa and few other states also, wherein besides the mandate of the program, our internal mandate is to have equitable distribution, if not equitable, even more distribution of women farmers in the board of those NPOs. So these are the themes which is underlining across the sector of work which we are doing, and so on and so forth. And of course, climate is another example of it. We are doing quite a few transport sector projects wherein we are ensuring that how would we reduce the carbon footprint of those public transport organizations. So gender, transport, equitable access of opportunity to the vulnerable group. These are some of the underlying themes which we work cutting across any sector of work we do.
Sure, Amit, absolutely. That gives a lot of clarity there. So Palladium is positioning itself, has always positioned itself as a social impact organization. And it is so difficult to maintain a balance, between being a for-profit organization and also driving change, right? Creating impact. So how do you,
Yeah.
maintain this balance? Would love to know that.
So as I said at the start, we are a global impact firm or a social impact firm. But what does that mean? As in, it means that we are creating enduring social and economic value in any projects we take. Which means that we are in a mission to create to link social progress with commercial growth. We are a for-profit organization, but aiming working with stakeholders, whether it is government, whether it is communities, whether it is businesses and investor, on pressing challenges, formulating strategies, implementing solutions, mobilizing capital, and or for that matter, building partnership so that sustainable outcomes can be achieved, both socially and also profitably for the clients and the stakeholder across. And that there is a fine balance between commercial and social growth we maintain across all projects. As in, we integrate commercial strategies with the social objective. We involve public-private partnership, leverage the strength of all the stakeholders to maximize the impact both financially as well as socially. We create business model which are self-sustainable and long-term lasting, not linked only with our involvement or any catalyst involvement as such. We ensure there is a rigorous monitoring so that each and every project has an outcome and it is achieved at the both the social and economic outcomes of the project is achieved, and so on and so forth. So in a nutshell, as in while we understand we are a for-profit, we would like to, and we are positioned globally and in India, we are trying to attempt to create implementation of projects which are more outcome focused, which addresses the social outcome of the client as well as make a profitable outcome, sustainable outcome for our beneficiaries. And there are so many examples I can cite, and maybe we can discuss in the subsequent section of our discussion.
Sure, Amit. Thank you so much for throwing light on this particular thing, because as a social entrepreneur, and we all of us have experienced it is so difficult, firstly to find our voice there in the sector, creating impact and striking a balance there, and then creating a sustainable model. So like the way you have narrated, like you guys adopt a very structured approach, a very partnering approach there to kind of get desired results, and at the same time making yourselves profitable there, or let's say sustainable there. So that is a very much needed to get into the space. So touching upon the next question, agriculture, it has always been a cornerstone of India's economy. You guys have been working into this particular sector. So could you elaborate on Palladium's approach to strengthening the small holders And also, what are the specific initiatives that have yielded the most promising results? And of course, citing the challenges what you guys have, faced in the journey.
So, as I mentioned, inclusive growth is one of our single largest theme we follow globally. And when I say inclusive growth, I'm talking about livelihoods, whether it is farm, non-farm, and when we talk about farm livelihoods, we generally focus on agriculture. Globally, we are one of the pioneering driving great agricultural solutions in transforming the agriculture ecosystem, whether it is the food security, whether it is the value chain of crops, or whether it is smallholding farmers transforming or empowering smallholding farmers. However, in all this aspect, one underlying theory of change we drive is market system approach, wherein we catalyze the income enhancement for smallholders, which goes beyond direct delivery models, focus on systemic change by improving core market functions facilitation, support behavioral change, and ensure that the impact goes beyond the intervention period. So how do we do it? We evaluate market conditions, we evaluate the demand of the market, the economic factors which impact the smallholding farmers, or for that matter, any farmer ecosystem, and try to ensure that there is a all of them come into a same platform wherein we understand what is the demand and accordingly orient our farmers accordingly. So this market system development approach is helping us to ensure that whatever the requirement of the farmers are well met. And I would like to highlight one of the program where we have successfully demonstrated, while there are so many examples of globally we have done in Peru, where we transformed farmers from illicit cocaine farming to cocoa farming, making that cocoa, which was the 20th variety of the world, the first number one variety of the world, by providing a market system approach where the market demand got increased with a proper processing, quality aspect, and the behavioral change aspect. One here in India is that we are managing a program for APO ecosystem strengthening in Orissa, funded by BMGF, working with Director of Horticulture in Government of Orissa, wherein the mandate was to transform the overall ecosystem of APO with policy support to government, with engaging private sector players, and directly working with almost 600 odd APOs in the state. We are impacting roughly around 1.5 million smallholding farmers, and out of which you be glad to know the underlying theory of gender, 1 million are women farmers. So far, with great support from government, which the first state government to announce a state-specific APO policy with inputs from our end and other ecosystem players, we converge all the convening partners working in the ecosystem, whether civil society organizations and others, and have helped in ensuring that the APOs who manage the produce here directly export their produce to global markets, whether it is UK, UAE, Dubai, and so on and so forth. And while doing that, ensure that there is an increased price realization of all their products, there is an increased turnover of all their products, and they get access to markets, to technology, to finance in a sustainable manner, not dependent on one player like Palladium coming in. So we're creating an overall ecosystem. And I must give an example of some interesting, touching story wherein we helped some 1,500 farmers working in a primitive location in Mayurbhanj, which is one of the vulnerable tribal group location in Orissa, export lemongrass oil to France, to UK, and other geography. While they have done 1 crore rupees of business this year, aiming those 1,500 farmers are aiming to achieve a 5 crore business in next 3 to 4 years. And there are so many stories we are encountering right now, which in fact is an inspiration for us to delve deeper and ensure that there is this robust ecosystem created for that. And yes, that's some of the stories. I'm happy to share more as the course of discussion goes.
These are some wonderful initiatives, Amit. Thank you so much for sharing these. Touching upon, the other question, climate change is an urgent global issue, of course. What are the most pressing climate challenges India faces, and how is Palladium addressing them at the moment? So could you also share a specific project that has made a significant impact in building climate resilience? I'm sure, you guys might be having lots and lots of initiatives and snippets there. So would love to know one or two examples. Yeah.
So, climate change, of course, not going into challenge which you are in, it's a problem which should be solved yesterday. Globally, we manage a huge number of programs, both from a relief response side as well as preparedness and mitigation side, in terms of preparing government and other stakeholders to how to address climate change and so on and so forth. I would cite one example where we are in Indonesia. We are creating climate resilient villages by creating village plan, how they would prepare to climate change, whether it is a disaster, whether it is any other human-made disaster, or nature-based disasters. We are working with UK government in a program called EXOT, which is stabilizing system support for all the assets of UK government, working across 120 countries, giving surge support and so on and so forth. The one example I would like to highlight in-house here in India is that we are appointed as the technical support unit for government of Maharashtra, one of the one of the first state to design a comprehensive program for disaster management. We are helping them in preparedness, we are helping them in mitigation, we are helping them in capacity building of stakeholders across the board, and so that they can do better relief and response as well as prepare themselves with various other structural and non-structural mitigation solutions which will help them to address climate change. And for example, we did a quick analysis of the landslide plan, knowing that the Western Ghats are very prone to landslides because of monsoon and other reasons, and that plan has led to various structural mitigation programs so that the communities around it are not as vulnerable as they are right now. Similarly, heat wave modeling we are doing so that specific SOPs can be designed for cities as well as rural areas to address heat wave situations around. And I'm sure in subsequent days to come, we'll work on sector specific, whether it is agriculture, whether it is rural development, and see that whatever infrastructure or whatever investment goes in, they are climate ready. They are resilient in addressing that. So these are some of the global as well as local solutions we are attempting to do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amit. So, everybody is talking about Viksit Bharat vision, right? So, the 2047 vision has to say that good governance, economic growth, sustainability, making India a developed country. So, what is your piece of advice to the private social sector leaders? What is their role in this space, and how they can accelerate the process, or what should be their goal as stakeholders in the ecosystem of building Viksit Bharat?
In fact, day before yesterday, I was participating in a conference in Niti Aayog, and the topic of the questions was revolving around that. And the discussion was on rural development, India living in villages, how exactly rural sector can contribute, or how in what manner we can support the rural sector, and so on and so forth. And one learning which I strongly believe personally, as well as which we have encountered in Palladium and also in that conference, which echoed very loudly, is that while there are fantastic solutions globally, I also being a member of Palladium proudly represent that has to be contextualized to local solutions, and we should respect to the traditional knowledge available in local solutions, whether it is managing a disaster, whether it is agriculture practice, whether it is how to address livelihood. The solutions has to be localized while taking the global best practices. When I say global, I'm talking about even solutions from Tamil Nadu cannot fit to Orissa. It has to be contextualized
Yeah.
locally, number one. Number two is that whatever initiatives we take as a stakeholder, whether it is a government, whether it is a private sector, which plays a strong role in augmenting government's fantastic schemes and plans and implementing on ground, it should aim at sustainable outcome, and resilience should be the key. It should the outcomes of the program should go beyond the period of the program. It should not end the moment the program ends. So whenever we take an engagement with any program, we should think what is beyond the program. So that is the second part. And third and the most important part is that the problem which we are in, we already have solutions, various examples available. It has to be run with the speed, with the scale, with the ecosystem approach, bringing all in a collaborative manner. As Palladium, we strongly believe that whatever pressing problems we are trying to address, it can happen with right partnership in a collaborative manner. And I must say that, for example, the entrepreneurship program I briefly mentioned, which we are executing in Orissa, creating entrepreneurs, we have 20 odd partners helping us achieve that. We know while we bring in certain skill sets, certain strengths, there are fantastic skill sets available on the ground which can partner and do it. So is what we are doing in energizing the API ecosystem in Orissa. So whether it is rural solutions, whether it is an urban solution, I believe these three, I would not the mantras, but three cornerstones while approaching the problems would be very helpful.
Sure, absolutely. So just to summarize that, Amit, thinking strategically yet locally is very important. And then, of course, trying to build sustainability and being resilient there. And thirdly, not to forget that our sector is all about collaboration, right? Seeking collaboration with each other, being there for each other, accelerating the process of impact is what we are eventually looking at, right? So
Yes.
let's say if there are, some civil society organizations or some non-profit organizations who are looking at seeking support from Palladium. So what could be the possible platforms or the possible associations, wherein they can reach out to you guys?
So we work with quite a few civil society organizations across the spectrum. As I mentioned, a couple of our programs are embedded with the civil society organizations. We can't work alone. Whether it is entrepreneurship, which we are doing in Orissa, we have had a interesting civil society organization which has immense strength in building entrepreneurship. Let's say in traditional handlooms and artifacts. So we leverage their expertise. We partner with them, we ensure that they take certain chunk of our outcomes and work in hand with them to bring in the best practice of governance so that they flourish as well as my outcomes achieved. Reaching out, as in we are available in any manner, our sector is available, they are constantly in touch with the civil society organizations, we are available in various forums wherein they can reach out, and in any case, we already are with them, so we are completely ingrained with them.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much. So, Amit, we are towards the end of the podcast now. So, one question, which is my personal favorite, because my family, my folks, my colleagues, they keep asking me this: that why did you quit corporate, like so early? So, I had a decade of corporate journey, and then after that, I started off with NGOStory. So yeah, I mean, what is your drive, Amit? What is your drive? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you committed, to be a part of the social sector and to drive Palladium every single day?
Well, I asked the same question and I changed from a big four to Palladium, saying that hey, I'm jumping to a new shape of social sector, how to deal. I saw that as in the ethos of Palladium was so promising, saying that hey, there is no difference between a corporate and social. Just a mindset change wherein we need to achieve the outcomes of the social sector with the commercial growth also in mind. My kick here, of course, is I love or enjoy seeing the outcomes in hand, whichever you work. If you create an entrepreneur who have or woman entrepreneur who have broken this glass ceiling of rural village and now employing two or three women by herself, that gives goosebumps. And I work for that. As in the kind of outcome which we see, it's like a baby you have created, and you're seeing that those entrepreneurs grow, and you get take a great pride that okay, I have contributed my small bit in their growth, if not large, because it's their journey, they have done it. So that gives that adrenaline rush of creating something and seeing being created. So that the journey which Palladium gives us to implement solutions and see the solutions growing. There are solutions which will fail. There are I'm saying it's not that everything which touch is a success. That would be solution, but as very well said, everything in life is a test or a celebration. So we celebrate that. We celebrate those outcome. That is something which keeps me going. And do what you enjoy the most. And I enjoy doing creating a great team with me, which is contributing in achieving that positive impact with a fantastic organization backing us, and giving that long rope to experiment, to work with the societies and communities, as well as still be commercially viable.
Thank you so much, Amit. And my drive is meeting wonderful impact leaders like you. That is my drive. And of
Thank
course,
you
getting
very
the
much.
opportunity of working with grassroots NGOs and bringing out their stories. So thank you so much for, being patient, addressing all of our questions. It was wonderful having you at NGO Story and looking forward to more of such interactions.
Thank you very much, and look forward to such interactions. Maybe sometime working on ground together to create positive impact.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Amit. All the best to Palladium. Kudos to the work that you guys are doing. I wish you more and more success in whatever, you're looking at achieving in the next couple of years. Thank you so much for being a part of the platform. And we will see you guys soon with another power-packed episode of High on Impact with another social sector leader. Until then, see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.